The devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall. One wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
Well, good evening, everyone out there in YouTube land. Good evening, denizens. It's wonderful to be here with you once again. I hope that you are all having a fantastic night. As many know, tonight is Sunday, Lee's night off. So myself, I am here with you this evening, keeping things going along with, we have 1-1 backstage. 1-1 is our law enforcement expert and panelist and regular on the show. And my name, for those who don't know, is Robin, and I'm co-producer of the channel. And I'm just looking through our names here tonight to see who all we may have. It looks like we, of course, have our awesome mods in the house. Amanda B. We have Pennywise, and So they're going to be holding down the fort with the chat and all that good stuff. So just a little bit of housekeeping, disclaimer. The opinions and views of the panelists and any calling guests we have are, this channel is for entertainment purposes and not meant to be defamatory or counted as fact, although fact-based. So just to let everyone know, that is the case. So I'm going to go ahead here and please, real quick, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, help us grow, and also make sure to share the video if you get a chance. We're out there on the interwebs, and I'm excited. We are streaming not only to YouTube now, but we are also over on Facebook. So if you happen to be part of the Facebook crowd, welcome into the Devil's Advocates family. We're glad that you're taking a gander at us. And so let's see here. I think we're going to go ahead and bring 1-1 up here. One moment. There we go. Hello, 1-1. How are you?
How are you doing, Robin? Hi, Dennisons. How does it feel? Sunday night in the den, live from New York. It's Sunday night. It's
You get to say that because that's exactly where
yes, I
you are.
do.
You are,
I
yeah,
do. I
you
do.
are, yeah. You're one of New York's finest. However, like Lee is always saying, you are not here in any official capacity or representing the NYPD, but you are our law enforcement expert and friend. And we are so glad that you are here with us. So now, tonight, we're going to start off with Idaho 4, which I know is near and dear to everyone's heart. So, which is amazing. This case has certainly provided a myriad of twists and turns. It is every day there seems to be something else coming out that may contradict or change the trajectory the case has gone even after the sentencing. So it's just a crazy wild case. So and after that we're going to just touch on the Long Island serial killer, otherwise known as the Rex Heuermann case. Touch on that a little bit. As most of you know, this channel covers more than just one case. Lee covers 5 different cases. Brian Coberger. We have the Luigi Mangione case. We have Long Island serial killer. We have Mickey Steins, and of course Charlie Kirk. So he covers all those cases, and so that keeps him stepping in addition to all the boots on the ground stuff he's been doing. So just to go over a little bit of that, and then okay, and 1-1. I know you have been busy preparing your stuff for today, so you just go right ahead and just tell me where you want me to plug stuff in.
Sure. So figured we figured we'd start with some Idaho 4 stuff, and then maybe we'll see if any callers or anyone wants to come
Right.
and give feedback or whatnot. So, um, this is going to be a follow up to, we had a show the other night and, we had a few callers and someone came on and they basically were, they were asking some questions and whatnot about, a college paper that Coberger apparently, well, not apparently, he did, it's confirmed. One of the papers that he had written and wanted basically our feedback and stuff on some of it. Unfortunately at that given moment, we were we were trying to answer the best we can. As Robin said, every day it seems like another 50, 60, 70 different things come out. You know, we could go to bed and tomorrow MPD can drop another, 2000 photos or documents or whatnot. So sometimes it's hard to keep track of every little thing, possible, but, we, we do try our best. And if someone does bring something that's seems to be important or has a good talking point, and we don't know it at that given moment, that this is a perfect example of how we don't ignore the chat. We don't ignore our guests. If something is relevant and important and we don't know it at the time, we will do our due diligence and get the proper receipts, and we will investigate it and review it, and then we will be able to have a discussion about it. So that's what we're doing.
Right.
Um, I guess, Robin, if you want to pull up, I guess, what is asset, I guess, number one. Okay. So this is just a real, uh, quick reference. So what we're going to be discussing is basically, like I said, this one of these paper that, Coberger wrote for his CRMJ 520 class from WSU in, 2022, which is criminal justice research methods. Um, so what, what this picture is on the screen, this is, so a photo of this paper, which we will show in a second. Um, if those of you want to go and you want to actually look at it yourself, this is I guess the item photo, batch dump from the evidence, and it was released on August 29th, 2025. And I believe it's page 162 out of 699, if you want to actually just go there yourself. So, why are we showing this? Because, as I said, it's important for us if we're gonna have, this is a true crime podcast, and our main goal of this brand is to push for the truth. And unfortunately, with all of the AI out there with photos and documents and all this stuff, in order to have really a thorough discussion on something, we have to make sure that something is authentic. I think Robin would agree there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what this picture is. It's just giving you, if those of you want to jot it down, again, it's page 162 out of 699. Thank you to, Penny and Amanda and everyone else that was helping me track down all this info for tonight. You could go to, I guess, number two now if
Okay.
you want.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you're able to. If you can. I don't know if you're able to zoom in a little bit or not.
Let me see if it'll allow me to do that. Oh, let's go to full
I'm not.
screen now.
No, it's
There
still.
we go.
Well, okay.
That's still.
It shows
Yep.
up small in my for me it looks small, but I'm on my phone. I don't have my laptop yet. So this is basically the article, uh paper that Brian Kohlberger wrote, and I'm not going to read the whole article word for word. Actually, if you read it, I definitely can see why he was in a PhD program. He's very good with his words.
Hmm.
Um, and you'll see actually in the third slide that we have, which we'll show in a bit after. We'll spend some time on this one. Is actual the professor wrote, basically his comments on his overall thoughts of this article and whatnot, and you'll see some of the critique. So the basic gist of this, it's he has two topics. The first one, he's basically discussing, it says offender decision making, emotionality, and burglary with theft, material gain as the end. So what what he's basically saying in this article. So that's the first topic. He's basically showing that there hasn't been a lot of research in the area of criminals who have been arrested and they've been incarcerated for burglary. Um, so there's a bunch of stuff. I'll highlight some key points, and then we'll have some discussion. I'll feed off of Robin. Maybe there'll be some questions in the chat. So the proposal basically examines offender decision making and the role of emotionality in crimes. It focuses on burglary, where theft, material gain is the offender's end goal, and it reviews the rational choice perspective, where offenders weigh costs versus benefit. So then it goes on. It's basically, he has this area. It's crimes of passion versus rational crimes. He notes that not all crimes are rationally planned. Crimes of passion stem, he claims, from reactive violence driven by intense emotional arousal. These emotionally driven acts disrupt the cold, calculated model of a crime. So what do you feel about that? How do you think about
I,
that, Robin?
I,
I
I
I
think
I,
it's
I think yeah. I think he was on the money.
uh, yeah, and I would definitely agree with a lot of that. It's just incredible how intelligent he was, just from
Oh
the
yeah.
little bit here. It really is.
Yeah, it's a one page. This is basically a one page. He has other papers he's written. He had like a 12 page, whole thing about if he committed a crime and this whole thing. But this is just a basic, I guess, two areas that piqued his interest on something he thought, you know, maybe he could make a change in or whatnot. So he goes on. So he says there's a big research gap on the emotionality in crime. Existing research minimizes or excludes emotional influences on offender decisions. Little study exists on how emotions interfere with the cost benefit analysis during crimes. And research on emotionality during crime commission is scarce. So he goes on to explain a bit further, and he's basically saying that there's really only been, when it comes to emotional influence, that it's mostly studied in sex offenses and robbery, and points out that there's a major lack of research diversity in this area. Um,
I would agree with that. I mean,
yeah,
that
yeah,
seems to be where the what I want to criminology industry seems to focus its time, but
right,
there are so many different crimes and so many reasons for each of these crimes that um, I really agree that more research is needed into more than is out there right now. So
right, definitely. Um, so he claims that we need to expand the literature. He identifies a clear gap in research on how emotions shape offender decisions. And from my experience that I've seen, I would agree with that. Um, he states the proposal tends to expand this limited literature. So, um, he reiterates that research on emotional influence during crimes is lacking. And what what he proposes to do, he proposes to study emotions before, during, and after burglaries. So be before the crime, during the crime, and after the
Mm-hmm.
crime, um which is what you would want to do if to get the full picture of really what's going on in someone's mind. Um,
Well, well, right, because do they feel remorse afterwards? Do they,
right,
is
right.
the act, is it as gratifying as they had anticipated before they committed the crime? I mean, yeah, there's definitely a whole host of things that need to be explored there.
Right. So, then he goes on to explain that he feels to do the study, you would have to do, he proposes an in-person correctional interview, which is very interesting. Um,
Mm,
he wants a semi-structured in-person interview in a correctional setting. Um, the instructor, he wrote some comments on the side about this. Uh, he has a lot to say about this area. He was intrigued by that. Um, then the instructor, uh, so he commenting on the proposal, and Kohlberger intends to conduct an actual research interview with incarcerated individuals, which he finds extremely significant. So he wants to actually interview people who have, who this has to do with. Um, then he goes on his second topic here basically deals with digital forensic training needs.
okay.
So, now why this is also, I find this topic that he wrote about very, very hugely interesting, because if you just, if you kind of correlate that, compare that to Idaho 4, um, look at all the stuff that, look at all the stuff that's come out that we keep questioning every day, where we're missing 7 minutes of video, right? And
Right.
we're talking about uh bell sounds. Are they electronically configured? Um why are we missing footage? Where, all these, like, are, the 911 tape, which I would trust, make reference to Outcast. He's some kind, he's basically respected, you know, being involved with
Yeah,
sound in the, in this area.
definitely.
He just recently, I think in the past year, even got involved in, like, the true crime stuff. So he's a sound, like,
Yeah,
specialist, and he basically
and the work that he's
proved,
done is
right,
tremendous.
right, right. And he's basically, I've seen a bunch of his stuff. He basically has shown that there's a bunch of static and nonsense that was added to the 911 call. Um, and you can clearly hear two separate different male voices on the 911 tape, just as a
Hmm.
sidetrack. One is
Yeah,
Johnson at the end, and we don't know who the one in the front is, but just
yeah.
bring that up. Card. Now, why am I mentioning that? Well, I mean, his topic two here is on digital forensic training needs. So his proposal basically explores the training needs of officers in digital forensics. Um, Technology spread means digital evidence appears in nearly all investigations. I mean, this, if there ever was a case that showed how much different, you know, digital evidence there could possibly be. I mean, this case is, humongous with videos and what was there? Some kind of like 50 or 60 terabytes of information.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
something like that. So, um, he goes on to say the importance of digital evidence essential to modern justice processes, proper identification, collection, analysis, and storage are essential. I definitely would
Hmm.
agree. I definitely would agree with all that. He basically explains that there's no universal training standard for digital forensic examiners. So there's definitely, um, a problem in the area of that. Cause like, I mean, you always can possibly have certain people trained better than others, but you know, if there's this systematic way, I mean, most police departments seem to pretty much, from what I've seen all over the country, use very similar like body camera stuff, the Axon system, and I think most of the stuff is somewhat similar. But should there be some kind of more of a, you know, uniform training system so that you know, uh, you know, God forbid you're a victim of something in a crime in Moscow, Idaho, uh, you know, are they going to have the same training and the same stuff that, you know, someone in New York and in NYPD has, you know, that, so
Right.
there's a definitely, definitely an issue there. And I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about like, I'm not even talking about experience. Like
Hmm.
experience is experience. There's nothing really you could do about that. I mean, there's no question if you have a city that has more crime, more homicides, more robberies, the police are going and detectives are going to have more experience dealing with it than, you know, in some, you know, small town in the middle, you know, of the United States. I mean,
Well,
that's
well, right. But in a case like that, then you should fall back on your training. And
right,
that's a
right,
really excellent point that without universal, standards, so to speak, and programs, um, yeah, yeah, it's a little bit like potluck as far as how things are going to be handled.
right, right, exactly. So he goes on to talk about surveying of officer proficiency. You know, that will gain, you know, that will survey skills gained through training, skills gained through experience. And the goal obviously would be to identify the proficiency gaps and deficiencies. Um, so again, overall, his proposal overview. Part one was his correctional interview on emotionality and burglary, and his part two is the officer survey on digital forensic competency.
Okay.
Um,
I find it
so
really ironic, the topic of this
yes,
paper, considering that's one of the offenses that he was charged with was burglary.
yes, yes.
You know, um,
It
and,
is.
and
Yep.
in a lot of ways, it's almost like he was charged with exactly what he was researching in a way.
Right. So then that's basically the gist of his paper, his
Okay.
proposals. Then the instructor gives feedback. He questions if where he's basically saying that a lot of law enforcement is undertrained. Is it an assumption or proven fact? He didn't really cite too many sources on how he came to that conclusion. Um, and what else? So he has two, again, he has two research paths. One's interviewing prisoners and one is surveying law enforcement. So it's two different
Okay.
areas. Um, his instructor felt that topic one was more interesting, but more long term. And topic two, the professional value may be easier to complete and beneficial, you know, uh, to what Koberger's plan was. Um,
Okay.
so the conclusion is that Koberger planned was, I guess, you know, was probably trying to see if he could, he's going for a PhD. He was probably
Mm-hmm.
trying to put this plan into reality.
Right.
This isn't a paper for some high school class. So
Right.
when you get to that level of PhD and whatnot, and you're arguing like a thesis, you're arguing theories, or you're putting through like, okay, this is a proposal I have to do this
Mm-hmm.
study. Like they they expect you to try to implement that that
Okay.
study, like
Right.
so and but his proposal it didn't have a date. There was no like
Okay.
timeline on it. uh but it is interesting because he did write it in 2022.
Right.
um and if you want to you could put up the third slide, I guess.
There we go.
So the third slide, so this is basically the got it here. uh it's like his final result. You if you see um at the top, he basically rates everything. It's either adequate or excellent, and you can see that's like the top grid there. He pretty much got mostly everything excellent. The only thing that I think he got kind of in the middle, he was just basically he wanted him to and he says it clear. He says it a little more in the middle here. Why was there no review of of burglary? So he says that he feels that sex crimes and robbery are have been more focused on, like the emotional reasoning and whatnot. But
Right.
he doesn't really give any theory or reason or anything to what brought him to that conclusion. So
Right.
why is there you know about the burglaries? Why is it that we have you know it seems such a it's at that time 2022. Why does it seem we have such a lack of knowledge and whatnot in this in this area of emotions that have to do with people committing burglaries? So um and that's it. And then he goes on to say though be the it's kind of funny. The instructor tells him to be careful of flavory language and uh
Slavery?
yeah,
Flowery?
flower. I'm sorry. It looks like flower. Yeah,
That's okay.
flowery. Like yeah,
I
careful of
thought maybe we were talking
flower.
about food
Yeah.
all of a sudden. I was like, dang.
No, yeah. Be careful of flowery language. Um, I it's the article is very well written. I mean, I to tell you, this is definitely after reading this and kind of seeing his proposals and whatnot, I definitely could see how Coberger could very easily have been recruited by some kind of intelligence unit, FBI or CIA
Oh
or
yeah.
something. Definitely. Like he's
Oh
already
yeah.
in a PhD program, and you see what
Right.
you see this art, you see what he's writing. This is what, you know, some of the specialists, this is what they want. They want people who, you know, not just can, you get people who are good at interviewing people. You get people who are good at telling if people are lying and all that kind of stuff. Um, you need people who are able to, you know, that can put together, why was this crime done? Why did this happen? What was the emotion going on? And that is not always so easy to do.
Right.
Obviously, certain crimes, the info is right there. Okay, the husband comes home, he sees his wife is cheating in his bed with the boyfriend. Yeah, I mean, we we have the answer right there. But not
Right.
everything is always so, cut and dry. Like we can, put a gold star on. Yeah, that's he this is, this is why it happened. So he's he's getting into some deep analysis of,
Oh yeah.
you know. So I thought that I thought it was super interesting, and he definitely was trying to go forward with this proposal. So it's very interesting, as you said a few minutes ago. Well, isn't that funny that one of the crimes that he's been charged with and and plead guilty to was committing a burglary, right?
Right. Right. So if we allow ourselves to speculate a little bit, the question had come up last night during our call-in portion of the evening. And I believe, if I have this incorrect, please just let me know, to the person who brought it up, who was up on stage with us. I believe her name was Laura Kaya. She wanted to know, one of the things was, she wondered whether or not, um, we thought maybe one of the reasons that Koberger pled guilty was so that he could kind of, I guess, in a way, continue writing a dissertation about, like, do like case studies from inside. Again, we're just speculating. That's not fact. We have no idea, but it is kind of an interesting thing to consider as his reasoning, or partial reasoning, for accepting the plea. What are your thoughts about that? And please, in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. I'm going to post a link here in the chat. If somebody would like to come up and chat with us about it, please do so. So let me just post that link for you. So when you see that, you can just click on it, and come up to the backstage, and I'll bring you on with us. Um, so I don't know where our buddies Jason and Joe are tonight. I know Joe was taking some time off to work on his channel, and I think Jason may have been
Right.
kind of doing the same thing. So, but we're here, and we'd be really excited to have you come up on stage. It's a good night. Definitely a good night here. So come on up and ask any questions, or just tell us your thoughts on the case. So, but yeah, so what are your thoughts about this being a potential reason for him to accept the plea?
It's it's definitely possible. It's definitely there. He he definitely seems to be. kind of like 5 steps ahead in what he wants to do with research and whatnot. So I I wouldn't put it past. I wouldn't, it's definitely possible.
Okay. Yeah. So that post that I just put there, uh, as far as I know, DA's not here. He's got a hot card game going on, people, hot card game. That was me posting that link from StreamYard. So, but you can say hi to him anyway, because he'll probably watch this at some point and critique us, see how we're doing. So please give him a good review.
Yeah, it's
So,
not always, yeah, people don't realize a lot of work goes into sometimes putting show notes together and,
oh my gosh, yeah. Oh yes.
researching,
And especially for us in a way, because we want to keep everything the way that, Lee does it, and we want you guys to have the same it can't be the same experience without our fearless leader, man. But we're doing our best to carry on here. So
Right.
no, see, you're not an idiot. What's the matter with you? It says DA. Everyone would think it came from him. Yep, of course. But that's the way StreamYard does it if you post from within
Yeah.
So yeah, this is really, I wonder, this is an aside and not related to anything case related, but this professor, I think it may be, is it a man or a woman? Because they got some nice handwriting. I'm just
Um, so
weirdo.
so we were, myself, Amanda, Penny, I was trying to find who exactly the professor
Okay.
was. Um, but I didn't have a definitive answer. I actually was able to find the 2021 to 2022,
Yeah.
uh, like course guide, and it listed everyone, but still, sometimes some people teach, like side classes or things could change at the last second. So I didn't have anything that was like specific that I could cite. As Lee said, I didn't have the receipts, so I don't want to start
Right.
naming professors that and they have nothing to do with anything. So
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely careful about that. For those of you who may be just joining us, you'll notice that I'm not DA. So, so Sunday nights, he has elected, unless he gets a wild hair up his ass, to take the night off. Got some friends coming over for them hot cards and that kind of thing. So you have myself and one, and Jason's normally here. I know he's been having not feeling just feeling a little under the weather here and there, so that may be where he is. And Joe is taking a few days off right now. He's between working 10-hour days. He is also trying to get his own YouTube channel off the ground. So he may be popping in from time to time whenever he has a few moments. So that'll always be wonderful to see him, of course. So Amanda, yeah, you're right. It does look like a woman's handwriting,
yeah,
and I'm jealous because my handwriting does not look like that. I
no,
have okay handwriting. I do all
mine
right,
not
but
either. No, my handwriting is horrible. Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Um.
So,
So I just
um,
wonder, does anyone have any questions from in the chat? Does anyone have any
yeah,
questions about the document or any of
and
his proposals?
yeah, Amanda says I don't think a man would say flowery. Well, so maybe,
Oh,
but
well,
that tends to be more of a
yeah,
woman's, I think. Uh, Observation, I guess, you know, but yeah, so this has been really interesting.
yeah.
Uh,
Right.
was that the
So what is
last
your?
slide, or were you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Don't
yeah.
let
That's
me
over.
interrupt you.
So
Go ahead.
No. So I was gonna say just what. So what? That's the whole that document. So what is your overall thought of not like not what? Obviously, he made the proposal, and is he trying to use some of this where he is now? Did that have an influence on his possible guilty plea? Is he trying to do some kind of insider research or whatnot? Um, that's always possibility. But what is your overall like conclusion of this article? Well, say article. It's really a one page proposal.
Right. Yeah. I think that it could have been. I don't think it was the whole reason he may have accepted the plea deal. I think there's a lot more going on there, maybe like with his family,
Yeah,
receiving threats and that kind of thing. But knowing the kind of intellect that Brian has, I can't imagine that this wouldn't have been kind of in the back of his mind that, okay, I have to fill my days with something. My cell is
yeah.
only so big. I don't even know at this point, is he in Gen Pop now? Is he not? I don't I If anyone knows, please, say so in the chat. But he has to have something to fill his days, and I would imagine that he would have maybe some access to some books and things like that that he could utilize. I don't know. Did my brain? Did I hear something about that they took his email away from him now?
No, I didn't hear that. That's that's
Or
possible.
the I would hope not. I mean, you know, yeah, I thought it was still on what is it, J Block, but I'm not
I
sure.
guess. I mean, the
Oh, look
last
at
thing that
Amanda.
I heard.
She's on
Oh,
it. She's checking to see where he is. I swear Amanda has like a sixth
okay.
sense about the
Yeah,
stuff that moves
yeah,
on the fly. For those of you who don't know, we have an incredible team
yes,
on this channel, and there, of course, there's Amanda B. There's she just is our graphics extraordinaire designer. We have Cat Farm, who makes the most amazing songs. We have Penny, otherwise known as Pennywise, who provides logistics for when Lee is traveling, and also all kinds of different administrative support. So we just have a tremendous team, and I cannot say
yeah,
enough about them. So we appreciate them, so much. So thank you to one and all for everything you do. So oh, hi Tigo Biddies, that's Lee's. He'll be sorry that he missed you. Oh my
How
gosh,
are you doing? Yeah,
I just love the way he giggles and blushes.
yeah.
So,
It's funny.
is oh, hi, Painted Desert. Oh boy, there's no prison in the United States. Instead of reading it, why don't I just put it on the screen? There we go. There we go. Uh, Painted Desert says there's no prison in the United States that wear black scrubs and a comfy looking bed with a pillow unless it's a mental institution. Well, now
Hmm.
another piece of a mysterious part of the puzzle. If he's not still in J Block, and we're gonna now see Esty should be here. Because
Yeah.
if we're gonna go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy, and we're going to go with psyop, has he been moved? I mean, we're told maybe
Yeah.
no, but has he?
Right.
But oh, hey, Luigi Revolution, welcome on in, welcome. Um, yeah, I mean, could he be over in psychiatric hospital somewhere? What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I saw the last I saw, right, he was making some complaints about about food and stuff or some other things. I know that was kind of a few months
Yeah,
ago, but
yeah, that was a little while ago. That's what I mean. And I was really hoping that at the last hearing, the Zoom hearing, that he would have been on camera. I would just like to see him. And see, that's the thing that
yeah,
fuels a lot of this speculation about, was it a psyop? Was it a cover up? Was it WITSEC? What, you don't ever see him.
right,
And so, not that you see most prisoners, but at least it would have been nice
right,
to see him, just to kind of see how he looked. How is he?
right, right,
So
right. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's super. I mean, I know that video got leaked, right? Of him, what was it, washing
right.
his hands or something,
Yeah,
which
he was
is,
washing his hands, but also he looked like he was attempting to clean something. I believe is um. So does anybody have any questions about this document, or just make some comments in general? And again, the offer still stands to come up and just voice your thoughts about this case or any other cases, as that Lee covers, for that matter. So if anyone wants the link, let me know, and I'll repost it, and you can come up and have a chat.
yeah. I see Painted Desert said maybe witness protection and the fact that they showed him on video is very suspicious as they're trying to convince us he's locked up. I agree. I
Right.
agree. Definitely. I mean, I know things happen, but how often do you really see like stuff like that get leaked? It is really odd.
It is really odd. Very, very odd. I mean, so all right, and for those of you who are just coming in, just a reminder, tonight is Lee's night off, but welcome on in. We're still discussing some Idaho 4. A little bit later here, we're going to be talking about the Rex Human case, or Long Island serial killer, which is going to be popping off next year, as well as the Luigi Mangione case. Lots and lots to that Lee will be delving into with both of those cases, as well as Charlie Kirk and Mickey Steins at one point. So no, you're right, Penny.
So,
That's the problem. There's no proof of where Brian is. That's for sure.
right. So I hope the guest that we had on the other night, I hope she'll get to see this video and see that we did take her question seriously and we did the research. We did the research on it. So,
Right.
um,
Yep. Which we will always do, if at all possible. We want everyone to know that we appreciate each and every comment and question that comes our way. Every email that you send us, and also we appreciate everyone, who sends us stuff over in Discord. Amanda, would you post the link to our Discord, please? Okay.
um, so what I'd like to say, I know Lee covered it last night. Well, he's has been saying it the last few days. So Lee is currently working on a website, revamping his website, I should say, and it shows the 5 cases he's covering, and specifically with the Idaho 4. as of now, he put what he feels are sort of the four, I guess, biggest possible theories or whatnot that, you know, some have some receipts, some are more of a speculation or theory. And we're just trying to have all the stuff in one area. So it really gets easy to pull the info and compare. Um, with that said, I mentioned it last night, and going along with what Robin just said a second ago, for those of you who, if you have some kind of theory or whatnot that you think has good merit to it, it's not just, some fictional story that you think happened in your mind. Um, if you have some kind of receipts, so I know you guys hear that word a lot. And if what the heck, what is this guy talking about? Receipts. Well, I'm stealing the term. I'm stealing the term from our General Lee. He loves that word, and that's kind of what this brand is. I don't want to say bound by, but focused on. We are focused on getting to the truth and everyone having their fair shot at a trial, whether they're guilty or not. Everyone has that right to a fair trial, and if you're going to get to the truth, you're going to do it. Sure, stuff can be manipulated and edited and all that. And hopefully as a community working together, we can piece some of this stuff together. Uh, but it has to be on authentic info. Like, we can't, can't just, you know, uh, say a bunch of stuff and then like, oh yeah, I think, a helicopter dropped, four guys parachuted into 1122 and abduct, and took all the students out. I mean, okay, if you want to go by that, uh, then you have to have some kind of receipt to back that up. Was there a
Right,
helicopter in the area? Was there some kind of military operation going on? So, you have something like that and you have some kind of receipt or something some kind of video or something that you think is worth talking about, and you don't want to come up on stage and talk about it. Um, some people are a little camera shy or whatever, audio shy, or they're not comfortable talking in front of, even though you're behind a screen, but still, people have a little fear of that sometimes. Don't hesitate to send that info to our
right,
email, and
right,
if it's something that holds some merit, don't think, oh, they've never talked about this theory or that or whatever, and I think there's some evidence and that is really, this is good. Send it, and Lee will take a look at it, and if he thinks it's something that holds merit, that's worth bringing up, trust me, he will. Lee will look at it. He will evaluate it. If he brings it up and he's covering it, he's very big about things having receipts. So that's why
yep,
with this show tonight, we did a follow up from our guest the other night, because if you're going to ask us about, again, there's thousands of documents in this case and photos and all kinds of things. It's
right,
hard to know everything, right off the bat. If you're going to
right.
ask
It's
about, if you're going to ask about a stream or something that someone did, like 10 or 20 days ago or 30 days ago, there's a good chance one of us probably saw it or may have seen it, but we, again, there's so much going on every day. Um, if we do think it's something worth talking about, we will definitely bring it back, like tonight's show.
Right.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So now we're going to move on from Idaho 4. Just a little bit here to go over one of Lee's other cases, which is again, Rex Heuermann, or Long Island serial killer. And what I wanted to kind of go over tonight a little bit was in the case, which is a very controversial, complicated case, and really kind of has a wild timeline all of its own. It's something it has in common with the Coberger case. So we're going to rewind just a little bit for those who are not familiar with the case, but it's one that you're going to want to keep an eye on because things are happening with this case. It's going to get pretty crazy. And one lives a short distance, or had lived a short distance away from the Rex
yeah,
Heuermann's home. So
7 minutes,
which
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
recently, back in October, Lee went to New York to uh, do some investigating. He met with John Ray, attorney John Ray, who was the attorney for the Shannon Gilbert family, and who has been involved in this case from like day one. So that was an excellent interview. He met with John again while he was in New York. So Lee has been doing some really incredible boots on the ground type of things regarding his cases, and I would imagine next year we'll most likely be doing some others. I do know he's intending to go to CrimeCon next year, and we all know that when DA goes on a trip, DA just doesn't go on a trip. DA comes back with all kinds of wild and wacky stories.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
He really does.
yeah, yeah. So now, um, with this, you know, in during the 1990s and 2000s, the bodies of sex workers were turning up all around Long Island. These discoveries happen quietly at first, with different jurisdictions handling the cases separately. That's always been one of the things that makes cases difficult to solve, is that um, you don't always have, especially back then, you didn't have jurisdictions, even within a state, necessarily always communicating with one another. So that definitely made it difficult back then as well. Now in 2010, that kind of changed when the Gilgo Four were found. These four victims were, in fact, carefully placed and clearly, um, as far pretty much no. It's thought that this is the work of one person with these original four victims. Their discovery was shocking. They were found when Shannon Gilbert, during the search for Shannon Gilbert, and of course, every time they found, a new body, they thought that they had found Shannon, but they had not. And their discovery, it went public. And originally, so the moniker of Long Island serial killer was born and on everyone's radar. But it wasn't that simple. along with the Gilgo Four, there were other victims with some very different characteristics. Some, and again, trigger warning: this is an adult channel. This is not a true crime channel. Um, we use adult words. We talk about adult subjects, and we don't. We don't try to get too graphic, but we also don't shy away from some things that might make people uncomfortable. So some of these other victims were dismembered, some were scattered across Manorville, and this contrast led people to believe that more than one killer could be operating, and that theory is still out there. Even though Rex Heuermann, uh, he is the alleged Long Island serial killer, and I believe there are up to 10 murders that they're attributing to him now. But so it's just you have so much. I guess you would say corruption. You have a lot of dysfunction within the Suffolk County Police Department, and it has led to, of course, a lot of speculation because of all the different bodies that have found they're not killed in the same manner. Could this be part of a ring, and could even police be involved? So we won't get down that road too far, but the speculation is there, largely in part due to Chief Burke at the time. He he has subsequently been arrested. As far as I know, he's still out, but not for the murders, of course, but for some other things. He was known to uh, run with prostitutes, sex workers, drugs. I mean, just all kinds of unsavory things. So uh, he tried to keep the FBI at bay for the longest time, and
He did. Yeah,
just
he did.
yeah. So, I mean, what at the time do you remember hearing about all this one?
Well, it's it's um it's funny that you bring this case up because probably of the five cases that we're covering right now, um this one is definitely very close to home for me. Um
Right.
I was super interested in this case even before I knew anyone in part of this brand or channel for years. I I had watched Gone Girls on Netflix, and I believe there's another documentary, I think, even before the Gone Girls. I think it was called Lost Girls, I believe. I could be wrong with the title.
Yeah. No, you're
The-
right.
right. There's quite a few, and I believe both featured Shannon Gilbert's mother. Um, this case was just super interesting to me. Yes, I am part of law enforcement, but I I am someone who likes to go for the truth, and I hold integrity to the highest form that I can, and hopefully it's a testament to for people to see that not all cops are bad. I know we see, unfortunately, a lot of corruption and a lot of nonsense. You have to remember too that the newspapers and mainstream media and whoever, Brian Etten, Nancy Grace, whoever, these guys, they get these stories. They're not going to cover, for the most part, all the good that happens every day that officers or first responders do. They put their
Right.
lives on their line every day. Now, how do I how do I feel about the corruption and whatnot? Uh, definitely law enforcement. We take an oath, and that oath is to doesn't really matter what department you're in or what jurisdiction, what state. Our usually the first oath is our main purpose is to preserve life. That is our main purpose. So if you have an officer who's violating his duties and abusing his power, because we do get a lot of power, no matter what kind of rules and things that change over time, and body cameras and all kinds of different things and laws, um, we have the authority to remove someone's freedom, to hold you, based on crimes or what we think is happening at the time. We have that authority to hold you and to arrest you and to take away your
Right.
freedom. It's a pretty it should not be taken lightly. So when someone does violate this stuff, like you mentioned, Burke, who's also at a very high position, was at a high position, there should be red flags like right away. Like why is he turning away the FBI from investigating what happened to Shannon Gilbert? I mean, it's no one, how is he going to be questioned? It's, oh, okay. It's just an escort. It's just a prostitute. It's just this or that. Yeah, like it, it's really sad because it should not
It
ever
is.
be thought of. It should never be thought of that. Every human
No.
life, no matter whether you want to look at it that you're at the bottom of the food chain or you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, and and you have a chef and you have someone that drives you around and you're wealthy. Every human life should be sacred, and it shouldn't matter, you know, your where
Right.
where you are in that chain. Everyone
Right.
has the basic necessity of living a happy life and getting medical attention and being able to feed their family and being happy.
Right.
Everyone should have those necessities, should have those things. It shouldn't matter. Oh, well, I have more money. I should be able to do, no, it shouldn't be like that at all. And when a crime happens, just, this is what I try to train newer cops that we get. I try to train them in the way of like how I was trained by some very good officers. That every crime that you get involved with, you go to a radio call. You really should try to have in the back of your mind. Um, you can't take everything to heart. We have our job to do, and we have to. Unfortunately, there are many people that call
Hmm.
us, and we have to prioritize the need of that at that moment, which some people don't understand either. Is a little fender bender accident that you have, is that more, are you more important than someone that's, you know, calling for help because they were just robbed at gunpoint?
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
what you need is important, but is there someone else needs you, a little more at that given time? So
Yeah.
these officers that violate their oath and get involved in all this crazy corruption, my personal opinion, without question, they should be held to the highest extent of the law, and maybe even more, maybe even higher than that, because they're supposed to be, you know, they're the last, they're the, you know, they're the ground, they're the ones supposed to be protecting you,
Right.
when
Yeah.
when something happens where we run towards the fire. We don't run away from the fire. We're supposed to be the ones helping you. And unfortunately, with all the stuff going on, the mistrust of government and first responders and police, it just seems to get worse and worse every day. And some of it is heartbreaking, but when
Sure.
there's a legitimate incident, story, whatever, where there is excessive police corruption, they should all be held to
Sure.
the
Of course.
highest standard, and
Right.
and it should be public, and it should be public trial, and hopefully when that happens, it can root out, you know, some of the bad apples, and
Right.
gain some of the trust back. But Burke,
Yeah.
with cutting down the FBI, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that poor Shannon Gilbert's mother. I mean, that poor woman, what she had to go through,
I know.
just trying to get help to
Right.
get someone to listen to her, and she knew. I mean, um, I don't have it on my mind right now. I just forget his name. The doctor, what's the doctor's
Hackett.
name?
Peter Hackett.
Hackett. That's it. Peter Hackett. That's
Yep.
it.
Peter
So
Hackett. Yep.
now I'm not saying, be clear. Um, we're not saying that Peter Hackett did anything,
Yep.
that he's involved. However, it's highly suspicious that they're basically, after a few years. So Shannon Gilbert's sister received a few phone calls after her sister it disappeared. Okay.
Right.
And basically this person was kind of like tormenting her, like saying, oh, maybe like, I don't remember the exact words, but it was something to the effect that, oh, are you going to be, like a prostitute, or, like a whore, like your sister, and stuff like this.
Yeah. It was
Um,
really disgusting stuff.
really, 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 like, out of left field. Now, what's crazy about that is, at the time, I guess, maybe along the lines, with the fact that, okay, Shannon, okay, she's an escort or whatever, they didn't want to have anything to really do with her. But also, technology maybe wasn't exactly caught up to as much as
No.
it is now, or later on. So, what's very interesting is, finally, they were able to, you know, they had all these phone records, and they were able to finally establish that these phone calls that the sister had received came from Peter Hackett's house. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Now,
Mm-hmm.
is it
And his
him?
story has
You know?
changed.
Oh yeah.
His story has changed, like, I don't know, five
Right,
different
right.
times, you know.
Because he probably, years ago, I mean, he probably thought, oh, there's no way that they'll ever be able to, you know, whoever it was, whether it was him or someone else at the house, they'll never be able to track that it came from here. Well, they did. And
I am
just,
so sorry if you can hear my cat. She sounds like a squeaky
uh,
door. I didn't know she was in here. I'm gonna try to get.
yeah.
Sorry about that. Well, I just real quick one. I just want to address
Yeah, good.
Foxy Rose. She had a comment about uh how,
Let's,
killing is very, let me get this off the stage. let's remove that. And one thing is that there have been serial killer teams kind of down through history, not only in America, but other countries. So they do exist. They seem to be kind of few and far between, but they do exist. But in 2014, there was a break kind of in this case. John Bitroff. He's arrested and later convicted for 2 murders from the early 90s, Rita Tangretti and Colleen McNamee. His semen was found on both victims. The manner of death was similar, and both were found near Manorville. And neither of those cases involved dismemberment. So this is partly what fuels some of that speculation that there could be different serial killers operating in that area, which is, so that can't be ruled out. And then there was a third victim, Sandra Castilla. She had an almost identical manner of death as, excuse me, as Rita and Colleen. And it was the same area, same time frame, similar position, the whole nine yards. So was he the Manorville butcher? Was he responsible for all 3 of these victims? The court says yes, he was convicted, but recently there has been some new developments in the case. That's something that Lee will get into in more detail. But so that's one of the things that I know that Rex Human's defense team, I am sure, is going to be addressing that. Okay, we have Bitroff operating in the same area, during the same kind of time frame. Maybe Bitroff isn't tied to some of these murders, but maybe someone else is besides Rex, who is, of course, the alleged killer of these victims. But and where I'm going with the team aspect is that there are people close to the case who do believe that Rex's wife, Asa, did know at least some of what was going on, some of what Rex was doing.
Yeah.
Because her hair, as well as their daughter Victoria's hair, was found on 2 of the bodies. Now, back then, Victoria was just a baby back then. Okay.
Right.
But some would speculate based on some of the artwork, and Lee has gone over that in videos, some of the artwork of Victoria's, or things that she was interested in, things that are very close in subject to Rex's alleged murders, the methodology, so forth. So is it possible that Asa was involved in some extent, or at least knew? On one of the occasions, I guess it has come to light that one of the occasions that she has been thought to have been out of town during one of the murders, that has been shown that was not the case. Now, that's an aside that we may never hear about in court if it's not going to be allowed in evidence. I'm not, we have no idea at this point, because this thing is going to pop off in a major way. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. I know Lee has a lot planned for this case. I would not doubt that he will be going back to New York at some point, and you'll get to hang out with him again, one.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to bring up something that uh, it kind of has a parallel to Idaho 4. Um, which goes along with a lot of what you're talking about there, where with the team thing. So one of the huge things in this case, and I do believe that this is at least from what I heard, I know we haven't got to hear the whole thing because I think part of it has been still redacted, but John Ray does have the whole thing. So for those of you who don't know, or if you are familiar with the case, when Shannon Gilbert disappeared, the night that she disappeared, she called 911. So
Mm-hmm.
when you call 911, it's automatically recorded. You know, when you reach the police operator, it's automatically recorded. It doesn't matter how long the
Right.
call is, it's recorded. So why is that such a big thing? What is the big deal? Okay, she called 911. Well, um, the police and whoever, the, the police and I guess officials or whatever involved, um, they would not release the 911 call to the
I
family
know.
or to anyone.
No.
They would not release it. Now, what is possibly the big deal? Yeah, okay, my daughter, my son, whoever, my relative has been missing for X amount of time. That's basically their last contact with, the world as we know it is on a 911 call.
Right.
Well, what, well, due to not to go into a whole long side rant on John Ray. John Ray is the lawyer that was working with Shannon Gilbert's mother and family there to get to the truth as to
Right.
what actually happened. Um, it took him. He had to go through court and all this, and basically, in a nutshell, there was a detective that had printed a letter, and it went to the newspaper and he basically had made some reference to this 911 call, and because he did that, John Ray was able to get
Hello.
what is so big.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
There we go. You were kind of cutting out there. There you go.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Yeah, sorry. So, what is so big about this 911 call? There's a bunch of stuff on it. There's question, was Shannon high? Was she, you know, on drugs? Was she drunk? Was she this? Was she that? But one of the statements that she makes, which to me, listening very carefully, is a key part, and it ties exactly what you just said. Was there a team? Was there more than one person involved in this? Well, on the 911 call, she says, they're trying to kill me. They're going to
Yeah.
get me.
They.
Now, if you think about that, I don't care if you're drunk, if you're high, if you're whatever. If someone is trying to get you and you believe wholeheartedly in your mind that someone is going to get you and you call 911, you would say, he is trying to get
He.
me. He is going to kill me. She is trying to kill me. She is trying to get me. You would not use the pronoun. You wouldn't say they. So the fact that she said they, to me, is huge.
Right.
So what do I think? What do I think happened? What is my theory with that? Um, there is some receipts and whatnot and some kind of evidence that, Shannon was hired, to go to some kind of being an escort or prostitute. And I believe she was bringing some cocaine or some drugs with her,
Right,
uh, to this. And probably was at some kind of party or, some weird sex party or whatnot. And maybe they, these people at the party, whoever, if it was more, maybe it was more than two people. They probably wanted her to do some kind of weird, wacky thing that she wasn't into or she didn't feel comfortable. And that's probably why she tried to run away. Who knows? It could be one of many things. And
right,
she did run away, but they weren't gonna, there's no way that they were gonna let her, get, survive,
right,
get away with that. So to me, right there from that 911 call is key to this case.
right.
So that ties what you said, that there's
Yeah.
definitely more than one person. So
Yeah, it's very well possible. Now, S.E. Michael, she brought up a good question about whether or not we think that Michael Brown, who is the defense attorney for Rex Human, may bring that up at trial. Any defense attorney worth their salt would try to cast any kind of doubt, you know. I would think, like I said, as long as it is allowed in the case, because as we know from Brian's case, Ann Taylor was not really allowed to bring up alternate perpetrators. So
right,
what I'm, you know, is going to be
right,
very curious
right.
to see is how New York handles that. And I do believe someone else, Foxy Rose asked about the death penalty in New York. New York does not have a death penalty.
No.
That's correct. No. So, um, a plea deal, it's almost like what can they offer Rex Human to take a plea deal? And I'm not sure that Ray Tierney, the DA there, is that's handling this case is really interested in offering a plea deal. In fact, he has said not that he does not intend to offer any kind of a plea deal. I think he wants to take this to trial, and I really hope he sticks to that, uh, because I think not only okay, the general yeah, we would like to see this case through to the end, but also so that the families of the victims can get some justice and hear, hopefully, the evidence that the police have, what they're I'm sorry, guys, my squeaky cat. Um, is what the evidence is, so for their sakes, I hope it does go to trial, so hopefully Tierney will stick to his guns there, so but
there, there is a caveat to that, though,
okay.
that I would add. I do agree with you. I do think that the DA wants to bring this to trial. However, if if they were to work out something, I think the only way that they would do that, um, is if Rex is possibly involved in many, many, many different homicides, which is but there's speculation that he may have been killing people for 30 years.
Right.
So if he starts giving legitimate info about people who are missing, possibly in other states, because this guy he went to Las Vegas, he went
Mm-hmm.
upstate, he was all over the place.
South
Now,
Carolina,
right now,
Alaska.
just because he is at a location that has a missing person or a missing girl or whatever, it doesn't mean he's involved in it. I mean, how many people possibly go missing from Las Vegas and stuff, So,
Right.
but if he could give valid info with receipts, he could give a definitive location, you know, on this such and such date, this girl went missing, blah, 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 at this time. And they can back that up. Yeah, this girl did go missing then. And he can say, oh, well, I buried the body, the body is here. And he starts giving info to that kind of, that kind of magnitude. That's the only thing that I can see. Maybe he would get some kind of, they would work out some kind of plea thing.
Yeah, maybe I can't imagine taking life, in prison off the table, but maybe some better condition. I don't really
Right,
know. I, I,
right,
I don't
right,
really know because we don't really know outside of freedom, what would be important to Rex. So, um, Black Cat, Queen of Denial says her black cat is looking yeah, this is Sasha. Sasha, come here. Come here.
yeah.
Say hello.
Um,
I promise I'm not killing her. I'm just gonna
yeah,
put her out.
that's all good.
Oh my goodness. Go on, there you go. Sorry about that, noise.
So,
She's quite the character. So, but
no,
LISK is an important case.
oh
I,
yeah,
I I know so many people are you know invested in Brian's case, but LISK is going to be very important because it highlights once again the police corruption, the breakdown of I mean, it even brings to the table new technology in evidence, in evidence collection, in the processing of evidence, because the hairs
yeah,
that were found um, do not have the follicle. Okay, so this is a new kind of technology that they're using in order to analyze Victoria and Asa's hair. So that's one of the main things that Michael Brown, Rex's attorney, tried to get thrown out, was because here we go again. It's just like with the IGG. This
right,
technology is too new. It's untested. How can we trust it? So it again raises that specter of, can we trust the testing of the evidence? So
right.
that's yep.
And
So
I can't stress enough. What it's kind of interesting how we're covering 5 cases, and 2 of the 5 cases that we're currently covering had a forensic specialist, Dr. Baden. I'm actually no,
yeah,
I'm
Michael
sorry,
Bodden.
incorrect. Well, Michael, we always talk about so Baden, about Baden Baden, however you want to pronounce it. He is like the quintessential, forensic specialist that you would want involved in a case. I'm sure this guy probably gets hundreds of, you know, uh, whatever, letters, emails, probably every week, people wanting him to help, him to investigate their case. And what's very interesting about Dr. Baden, he he was used as um he was hired by Epstein's brother
Right,
to review the autopsy, and he came to the
right,
conclusion that it was most likely a homicide. Dr. Baden was used in this case with Shannon Gilbert. So even after they found Shannon's body and all this stuff, then they just came to the conclusion, oh, she drowned. That was it. There was no
Yeah.
real testing done or anything. And Dr. Baden was involved in this case. And again, he's came to the conclusion that the hyoid bone,
Hmm.
was broken. And in most cases, for those of you not familiar, it's not 100%, but when that hyoid bone is broken, it
Right.
usually means that someone was strangled, that they did not
Right.
commit suicide, that
No.
it didn't happen by accident. It's usually done by strangulation.
Yep.
So Shannon may have had, some water or whatever that in her, but it's highly suspect that that hyoid bone, like, how would that, how would she get that bone broken? What
Right.
she
You
tripped,
don't
she
fall
tripped,
down.
she tripped over a rock, she tripped over a rock in the swamp. I mean,
Right. So,
so
yeah, that's definitely highly suspect. And Dr. Bodden, he's a renowned, in his field. And I really wish that we hadn't lost Cyril Weck, um, who was on par with Dr. Bodden. He just passed away this year. He another renowned, um,
right,
doctor in that field. And I want to say that at some point he may have weighed in on this case. I'll have to look that up just out of curiosity.
yeah,
Um,
right,
but yeah, but so anyway, well, um, I think that was about all that I had for the evening. I don't know. Does anybody have any comments, questions? Does anybody want to come on up for a few minutes here uh, to chat with us or anything? I'll be happy to put the link in the chat if you would like. Um, just a couple of other housekeeping things. Lee will be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, and anywhere in between. You just have to find your time there. So actually, oh, tomorrow's Monday. I forgot.
yes,
No, actually,
yes,
tomorrow Lee will be over on Birdie's channel. My
right,
bad.
right,
Yeah, he
right,
will be over on Birdie's show. So Birdie's on 7 p.m. Central and 8 p.m. Eastern. So make
yeah,
sure you tune in because of course Lee has more entertaining stories to tell, and we all know how he and Birdie get cutting up. And so as always, that will be extremely entertaining with those guys. So, okay, it looks like Latitude has a question for you,
yeah.
one. Let's
I
put that up
see.
here.
Why didn't law enforcement
Arrest
arrest
Hunter
Hunter
J on the
J
scene.
on scene? Um, it's a it's a very good question. What I could say is from what I saw from the interview with him when the officers first arrived on scene, and I guess he kind of like, I guess he sort of walked them through the house, or he was, you know, or verbally telling them certain things. I know that they checked his hands. They made him take, they made him turn his hands over and, like on the side and back. He definitely should have been brought down to the station. So there's a bunch of stuff that was done incorrectly on scene. I could tell you from
Mm-hmm.
my experience. I wouldn't say they didn't really have enough so why didn't they arrest him? Well, what would they be arresting him for? I mean, he was friends with the other people. They, they basically would corroborate or say, it's verified from phone data as well that, between, Emily and him that they were called to come over. Do I think that their story and to everything is truthful? No, there's a bunch of loopholes. Either they were told a certain story to say and they just couldn't get all the facts correct. We talked about this the other night. It's, I saw the interview with Emily. I felt her interview seemed pretty authentic. The questioning wasn't too bad. One of the big discrepancies, and again, where's the follow up? Why was this not, you know, brought up again? What is going on in this case? But
Yeah.
just to remind everyone, Hunter J, obviously he was interviewed, but he says that, so we can verify from the officers on scene and from the video, the body camera, that the knife that is placed on the table with the cups, that was the knife that Hunter was holding.
Hmm.
But now, why did Hunter say that he got that knife from the kitchen?
Right.
And when Emily is asked about it, she says that that knife was, she saw it at the top of the stairs. But
Yeah.
when you see the body camera and the police go
Hmm.
upstairs, there is no knife.
No.
There's no knife at the top of the stairs. So
Yeah.
why is he that there should have been a follow-up interview, and it's not even making an accusation of, oh, we think you killed these people. It's not even that.
No.
They both can't be true. Like,
Right.
why are you're saying that you got the knife? Are you sure? You definitely got that knife from the kitchen. But we have info from someone else saying that that knife was at the top of the stairs. It can't be
Right.
both. They both can't be
Right.
true.
Of course.
So
So
it's
now,
a huge discrepancy, you know?
right.
But no,
I
there really wasn't enough. So to answer the question, at that immediate time, there was not enough info to place really any of them under it, including Dylan, including Bethany, any of them there. Was there enough? What I would say, for 4 homicides that happened, Hunter J is on scene. He's there for the 911 call. Bethany is there. Bethany lives in the house. Dylan is there. Dylan lives in the house, right? All three, Emily was called, she was over there. At the very
Mhm.
least, all four of these people should have been separated and brought immediately
Oh, sure.
down.
The way it
Not
was
they,
carried
yeah,
out was,
they shouldn't
but
be standing. They shouldn't be standing around talking with
no.
other people, because they could be possibly the perpetrators. So at that moment, you don't know what you have. But at
Right.
that point, I would say you're basically what we call a stop, question, and possible frisk, which is a
Hmm.
Terry's. It's called a Terry stop. Terry versus Ohio, which went to the Supreme Court. Basically, the police have the legal authority throughout the whole United States. If they believe someone has committed, is currently committing, or is about to commit a felony or a penal law misdemeanor, they have the right to stop, question, and possible frisk. So
Okay.
at this
All right.
moment, when they are on scene, they would have had the right to hold all four of these people. They're not free to leave. It's not like they can go. They're not free to leave. They should have been held and brought back to the station for further questioning. That's
Right. Yeah.
immediately.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, this question here, why was Brian not charged with messing around with dead bodies? Well, the long and short answer basically is because there was no evidence of essentially mutilation or any sexual component. The charges were based specifically on the acts, meaning that the injuries at the time were found consistent with the fatal stabbing attack itself. So apparently at that particular moment, or when the autopsies were performed, they determined that it wasn't as though they sat around, you know, doing a lot of post-mortem stabbing or cutting. Everything happened during the commission of those crimes. So that's why he wouldn't have been charged with, you know, you know, the name just went right out of my head, you know, abusing the corpse, you know, any of the corpses. So that's why he was not charged with that. So,
Yeah. Let's
well, we're
see.
just at
We,
about 2 hours here,
let's see. We got
and
a
so I
few.
know he likes us to.
We got a few more questions. We can answer We can answer kind of quick.
Let's see, which one you want?
I'm just looking quick. I see Queen of the Nile. He was holding a knife, and why did they let him lead? Why did they let him lead them like they're big boys, right? Absolutely. It's this four homicides. They should not. The, at that moment, he's holding a knife, and they would see the blood all over the place. Um, I could tell you probably on scene if I was there and like he was there, he's got a knife or whatever, he may have been put in handcuffs immediately. Like I don't know yet what's going on. You know, we have to get to you know, figure it out. He may have
Right.
been placed in handcuffs, and you're absolutely right. I wouldn't let this person that I don't know lead me holding a knife. So that's a very
Right.
good point. And no, there's a good chance he probably should have been put in handcuffs. And just because you're put in handcuffs doesn't mean you're under arrest. Be
No,
clear on that.
but I would think just for safety, because okay, if okay, we're gonna speculate just a little bit, people. He's leading the cop up the stairs, right? I can't remember which
Right.
cop was right behind him. But
Yeah.
if, as a perpetrator, had I had a mind to and turned around, I could have easily slashed the cop's throat. Just element of surprise. He wasn't expecting this. He wouldn't have been expecting this person to turn around and do such a thing. He would have been at a disadvantage. It is weird to me that they did not like make him drop it out, you know, outside and just at least put him in handcuffs to get him safely so that he couldn't cause anyone any harm. You know, he's
Right.
roaming around a crime
Right.
scene with his knife.
Right. Absolutely. Um, and then just to answer quick, Queen of the Nile USA, there's no urgency in the police behavior. It was way too relaxed. They acted like they knew what they didn't have to expect. A um, 100%. I agree with that to a certain point. Um,
Okay.
due to from my just to answer quick, so we don't go on forever here. From my experience, Again, I have over 20 years of experience of
Mhm.
responding to all kinds of jobs. Unfortunately, some
Yeah,
homicides. Um, I would say that, so the officers on scene, some of the body cameras that we saw when they went to some of the rooms, um, I do believe, cause I've had a discussion with Lee. Is in the same frame of thought that I am. I do believe that what I heard seemed authentic, that
yeah.
some of the officers were there, that is kind of a reaction that you would hear, like going into a room and seeing two, whether they're, female, whatever, seeing two bodies, like blood all over the place, a normal reaction would be like, oh shit, like, oh my god, like you could hear from the breathing and their comments. Now we have some other, guests of the panel, members of the panel, you know, that they believe that, it could be actors and whatnot. Sure, it's
Mhm.
possible. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but from my
Right.
expertise and what I know, they sounded authentic. Now,
Yeah.
does that mean that I believe that all of them were authentic and that everything was how it seemed?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I personally, I've said it the last few nights, and I'll say
Mhm.
it until I'm proven otherwise. The delay in the 911 call for 9 hours after we hear these interviews that of people saying that the walls were thin. We can hear a dog barking. We can hear fighting and all kinds of weird noises. We can hear a thump on
Yeah.
12 camera. You hear all this stuff and you're going to tell me that Dylan and Bethany didn't hear any, they didn't hear people screaming or, or even like furniture moving or some kind of weird stuff going on. Of
Right.
course they did if they were there. So
Yeah.
I don't think that something like this happens and you see someone dressed in black and you can't get in contact with any of your roommates and friends. And then I'm just going to go to bed now.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
it's not typical behavior. It doesn't make sense. I don't want to hear. I don't care about. Oh, well, she was in shock. Well, she obviously wasn't in shock because Dylan went on Snapchat and TikTok and all this other whatever crap that she went on her phone. So they didn't go to
Yeah.
sleep right away. So that's a whole lie. I
Right.
believe that there were police there, whether you know maybe it's Rosenthal and Tisdale or there were police that were there. You hear this
Somebody was
911
there.
call. Yeah. There's no
Yeah.
sirens in the back. There's no
Obviously.
sirens in the back. No sirens are there. Nothing in the background. Um,
Yep.
I do believe and why would that go along? Because if there are some kind of police or undercovers or whoever that are there, the police are there. Why
Yep.
Dylan or whoever, they wouldn't need to call the police because they're already there. So
Right. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll leave it there. But you guys again, make sure you tune in tomorrow night on Birdie's show for Lee. He'll have his entertaining stories, his take on whatever Birdie has up his sleeves. And thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, as always. And thank you for your comments and your questions. We love spending time with you guys, and you will see us again on Tuesday night. So hope everybody has a wonderful night, and you take care.
Yeah, take care. Me, Robin, and I get to have a night off, sort of,
Yeah.
on on Monday night. Have a good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, good night.